Hi folks, how you doing? An astonishing third round here in the 2014 Sinquefield Cup in St. Louis, USA was full of fireworks on the board. Really amazing three games we saw today. I think this round will be remembered for a long time. We had basically the best players in the world giving all the best they had in three amazing games with three decisive results, amazing attacks, really great sacrifices here and there, tricks and traps everywhere. And the game we're gonna just see right now between the world champion Magnus Carlsen as white and Fabiano Caruana as black, the number 2 player in the world right now, is probably one of the games of the year. Both because they are playing. I mean, it's the world number 1 and 2 playing, and between them they had lots of interesting games. But this one really was one full of fireworks there, sacrifices here and there. You're just gonna see this is an amazing game of chess. Probably would take lots of hours to analyze it out completely to see what was going on in each and every move. So let's start. Magnus plays 1e4, and after e5, this time he chose the bishop opening. Bishop c4, knight f6, d3, Caruana plays c6 here, very typical in this opening for black to try to play d5 in good conditions very fast. Carlsen develops a piece, d5 is played, bishop goes back, and here it seems this is very theoretical, not there, but put the bishop on b4, forcing white to play c3, inviting white to play c3, as it seems this is not helping white too much because the knight would rather be there, I guess. So the bishop now goes back to d6 and the knight cannot go to c3 anymore. Carlsen plays bishop to g5, pinning the knight, d takes, the central pawn tension is released, and now Caruana asks this bishop about his intentions with h6. Still some games in the database with this move order, like the one between Bologan and Hampi Koneru in 2012. Bishop goes back, queen to e7, getting away from the d file, reinforcing e5. Some developing moves here for both players, knight here, knight there, and bishop there to g3, putting more pressure on e5, although it's more than enough defending here. Here is a move by Caruana which I like. Bishop to c7. Remember this move because later in the game this bishop is going to be very useful on b6. This is an interesting, you can put it in an active place here on b6 whenever you want. Carlsen just castles, and now knight h5 by Caruana, trying to get the bishop pair, trying to get rid of this bishop on g3. And well, it may seem that this knight is in the air a little bit with some discovered attacks against it, but it's not working just yet. For instance, if knight takes, trying to win a pawn here by taking this is not working, because if knight takes and bishop takes, for instance, well, this is very easy for black. Queen takes, defends the pawn, the bishop, defends the knight and threatens checkmate. And if knight f3, well, the queen goes away, the knight isn't attacked anymore. Carlsen here plays pawn to h3, and this knight is getting the job done, taking on g3. F takes, really a committing position for Magnus here, having this doubled pawn on the king side in front of his king, but on the other hand giving himself the open f file. The rook is already x-raying here f7, the bishop is already there as well, so something could happen. Well, you wonder if anything could be going in here for white. Knight c5, centralizing the knight, getting this bishop alive. And well, here Magnus Carlsen starts a crazy attack here, going old school checkmating attack with the bishop sacrifice on f7. Really beautiful move out of nowhere, sacrificing on f7 a piece. Try to checkmate Caruana right out from the opening. Okay, queen takes, doesn't seem a great move here. The knight can take, for instance, on e5 with double attack on the queen on f7. And whenever the queen moves, queen h5 check looks devastating. So taking with the queen seems not very great. So taking with the king must be the correct move here. And now white has now the f file, which was cleared up by the capture f takes g3, is going to be very useful, as this knight has a couple of tempting discovered checks on h4. Carlsen chose the one on e5. Now the king has a couple of places to go. The good one is something you could expect, where Caruana went. He went king g8. The other two alternatives aren't very good. You go to e6 whenever you want to be checkmated very soon. In this case, it's working perfectly, because this is a mate in a couple of moves. Queen g4 check, king takes here, and a beautiful checkmate with the knight. Going to c4. Game over in 18 moves. This would be beautiful. And going to e8, sorry, isn't very good either. Doesn't look very promising either. Queen h5 check, and if, say, black tries to go to d8, there is at least a fork here to the king and the rook, if not something much more. So this is lights out, game over. White is winning. So after this check, only one move for black, king to g8. That's what Caruana plays. And now Carlsen, as expected, goes to g6, forking the queen and the rook on h8. Also giving himself the possibility to go with the rook to f8. I mean, black's position looks scary. Lots of initiative for white for the piece. But the engine says Caruana has a defense, and well, although most people in the world wouldn't find it, Caruana just keeps cool and plays good moves here. He knows he has to give back some material, but as long as he gets active pieces, it doesn't matter too much. He puts the queen on g5, attacking the knight, attacking g3, and attacking the e3 square with some interesting checks coming sometimes in some variations. Carlsen here plays rook f8 check. Really funny position. I mean, who could expect this kind of sacrifices attacks to be seen between two players rated over 2800? Really seems tournament game here between amateurs. Crazy sacrifices there. King h7, and now Carlsen takes with the knight on h8. It seems the spirit of Tal or Alekhine was today on the playing room. Just look at these pieces here. Really funny position. Very fun to watch these kind of games on the Elite. Okay, here Caruana had, it seems, a very strong move. At least that's what the engine says. Queen e3 check was, it seems, a great move. King h1, and now bishop to g4 or bishop take h3. Bishop g4 may be more precise, attacking at the same time the queen and the rook on f8, winning back material if queen takes. Well, rook takes f8, black is up 2 pawns and most probably starting to consolidate his material advantage. Otherwise, bishop g4 directly was played by Caruana with the same basic idea, attacking the rook and the queen at the same time. Carlsen went queen f1, defending the rook, getting away from the attack, and now a very beautiful move. Nice little move by Caruana, really fine one. Knight to d3. I mean, just look at the position. Black has 3 pieces hanging, the one on g4, the knight on d3, the rook on a8. And despite that, he's in a better position. I mean, white also has his pieces hanging there, the knight, the other knight with the queen. Absolutely crazy and insane position. As I said, it probably would take hours to analyze this out completely, this game, to see what was going on in each and every variation. This is a very beautiful game, most probably one of the games of the year. In this very nice position, let's see what was the idea of this queen d3. Just like let's make a rubbish move for white to see what was going on if black was to move again. If white plays like a3, queen e3 check, and this knight is going to serve a very great purpose, because one of the lines which could follow here, I mean black is absolutely winning here, the queen must be given up probably. If king h1, now rook takes f8, queen takes f8, and now black is checkmating like this. Well, white can give up his queen, but let's not spoil the party. What if king h2? Well, queen takes g3 check, king g1, knight takes h3 check, king f1, queen to, not there, but to d3 check, king e1, and queen e2 checkmate. Really an amazing combination, a very deep and really beautiful idea with this queen d3 move by Caruana, having 3 pieces hanging. It's white to move, and white is kind of lost still. So queen takes d3 was played by Magnus. Caruana took the rook on f8. Black is up 2 pawns so far. White can and does take the bishop on h4, sorry, on g4. Funny pawn structure for Magnus Carlsen here in front of his king, tripled pawn. So this knight is not going anywhere. Caruana just takes g4. Knight plays to f3. Caruana keeps harvesting. Queen takes on g3 as well. Carlsen tries, the knight on h8 doesn't have any future, so discover check, and the king takes the knight. e6. Now remember that move bishop c7 early in the opening. I said that was a beautiful move. It could be useful to put it on b6 someday. Well, the day has come and it pays off. Bishop to b6 check. King to h1 was played. Now queen to g4, just attacking this dangerous pawn, which is basically the only source of counterplay, serious counterplay white has. Carlsen plays queen to d6, defending it. Rook to d8, chasing that queen away. Also rook to d5. Now a check, but not a big deal. King goes to h7. e7 was played, but this is over. Fabiano won't let this slip. Queen to h5 was played, and now, well, arguably white is lost, but knight h2 makes things much easier for black. I think later in an interview with Morris Ashley, I think Carlsen told he knew this was losing, but he kind of forgot or something like that. Well, a little touch of class by Caruana here to finish the game. Rook to d1 check, forcing this exchange of rooks and forcing the piece sacrifice. Knight f1, queen takes, king h2, queen g1 check, and after 34 moves, Magnus Carlsen, the world champion, resigned, losing his first game in American soil in this 2014 Sinquefield Cup, as it was forced that after, say, king to h3, queen e3 check, just picking up this pawn, being up a piece, with no compensation at all, with no counter chances at all for Magnus Carlsen. So this is all she wrote. Magnus Carlsen loses a game in the Sinquefield Cup. A wonderful, really an amazing game by Fabiano Caruana, beating the world champion in this third round of the 2014 Sinquefield Cup. Thanks for